OPM as a catchphrase is a term that Filipinos know all too well. Various Spotify playlists are being made every year with different variations of OPM such as OPM favorites, OPM hits of the hundreds, Acoustically OPM, and many more. But what makes these songs original to the Philippines? As the acronym implies, OPM or Original Pinoy Music was a term that was established in the 70s and 80s as a successor to the Manila Sound era. The term was a label for Philippine pop ballads during this time. However, this eventually became a catch-all term for music produced by Filipinos. The colonization of the Philippines by the Spanish and the Americans not only left a mark on the languages of the Philippines, but also its music. Even before the eras of Manila Sound and the height of OPM in the 70s to 80s, Filipino music borrows characteristics from both Spanish and the Americans. As our culture post highlighted, Spanish influences aided the development of Philippine folk music, although this varied greatly from region to region. As for the early 1900s, Paul de Guzman writes, the American colonial period saw Filipinos mastering the Western classical idiom, as they started performing and creating classical pieces. Operas, which became popular in the country, produced talents such as Jovita Fuentes, who received acclaim for her international performances. Filipinos were welcoming in Western influences and making something of the genres that had spread to the country. Even before the height of OPM in the 70s to the 90s, another big name from the peak of OPM are the Eraserheads, also known as the Beatles of the Philippines. It's quite obvious why they were likened to the Beatles. Their classic rock vibes and the witty lyrics still have Filipinos singing their songs on karaoke today. Although, formed over 2 decades later after the height of the Beatles, it is evident that through these characteristics they based their inspiration for their music on the British band. Worldwide music tense and strong connections with the Western would have played such a significant influencing OPM during its height. Even if this blog post was aimed at exploring what makes another country's music original, surely we would come to some conclusion that nothing is never original. There is clearly something unique about OPM as so many artists from this era are still relevant today. Bands that came out from the 90s were staples to Filipino households like the Eraserheads, Freddie Aguilar, Ryan Cabiab, and Sharon Cuneta, to name a few. OPM at its highest may not have been original to Filipinos in terms of style of music. As discussed, the Eraserheads were likened to Beatles at the music of VST and company possesses elements of disco rock. However, one thing that makes OPM so unique to Filipinos is its use of variation Filipino traditions, specifically the Harani and the Kundiman.